Hello, hello, and welcome to my my thought for today, which is this is Easter Tuesday, and if I don't get a haircut pretty soon, nobody's going to watch this. Nobody's going to watch this video. I was looking at one of those um, emails that we get about days gone by, and they were talking about the fact that people in my day didn't lock doors, and they didn't lock doors, and many's the time that I was on my way home, and because my Aunt Sally never locked her door, she saved me from leaving a puddle in the car because I could run into her house, the door was open, go to the bathroom, and then leave. Um, but I have never locked any door until I moved to Brighton, and then I had to lock the door. I've never locked any door. And I was not aware that my neighbors were aware of this. And I used to be the dog lady of Pacifica because I always had three or four dogs on a leash, and I always walked them twice a day. And one horrible day, um, my Dorothy, she was a little mutt, she was a little Shih Tzu mutt, little fluffy white thing with the little tongue hanging out. She was adorable. And she ran away, or she disappeared, because Dorothy would never have run away from me. We were bonded. But anyhow, she disappeared. And I looked and I looked and I looked for her for a week, and then I gave up. And because everybody in Pacifica knew me, and Dorothy was so cute, somebody had stolen her, and they brought her into Foodtown Market because they wanted to buy her a fancy collar, because I don't put collars on my dogs, going under the assumption that I wouldn't want a collar around my neck. So I don't do that. And when the checkout girl saw Dorothy, she said, "That's not your dog." And she took the dog, and how she knew where I lived is something I will never know. But she came over to my house um, to return Dorothy, and I wasn't there because I was doing gigs. And she knocked on the door and she knocked on the door and no one answered. So she went across the way to my neighbor across the way, and my neighbor said, "Well, listen, she never locks the door, so just put her in there." So when I came home that night, I heard Dorothy's distinctive scream. She didn't bark, she screamed, and there was shit all over the floor. And Dorothy was back because I didn't lock the door. But one of the reasons I don't lock the door is because I was visiting a man in Orange County in California. That's a very wealthy place. And this man said to me, "If you lock the door, it's a trade-off. Because if they really want to come into your house, they're going to get in the house and they're going to break down the door and they're going to cause a lot of damage." And that was when I decided not to lock the door. So but then I was at that time that I met him, I was living in Redwood City. And I wasn't living in my own house, so I didn't lock the door, but I was living very hand to mouth. I had very little money, and I didn't lock the door. And when I came home one day with all the dogs, the door was wide open, and when I walked in, there was absolutely nothing taken. So I told somebody about it, and I said, "I don't know what they would have taken. There was nothing here." And they said, "No, but did you look in the bureau, in the bedroom, in the bureau? Did they leave a $5 bill taped to your bureau?" Because I had so little that they felt sorry for me. And so I have not locked anything. However, with this coronavirus lockdown, I am thinking very seriously of leaving my door. I'm so lonely for human contact that I'm going to leave my door open and hope that somebody in my building is so drunk on all the wine that they've been mainlining that he comes into my house and visits me. That's a hope in hell. And thank you so much for joining me for my thoughts.